Alright, FPS players, it's time to put down the firearm and pick up that katana, because today we're playing Ghostrunner. And if you haven't already, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, drop a comment, I really appreciate it. Content warning, Ghostrunner is rated M for language and gore, so if you are sensitive to that kind of content, click away now. Alright, let's get into this. Ghostrunner is a fast-paced cyberpunk first-person platformer that will challenge the player's reflexes and ability to perfect the movement and flow of the titular character, the Ghostrunner.
This is troublesome.
How do I disable it?
First.
Now you can take it down.
Let's take a look inside. This may feel a little strange.
Like most cyberpunk media, Ghostrunner is set in a post-apocalyptic dystopia, where the remaining civilization is broken up into two classes. Ghostrunner is also highly stylized, which may be the most critical element of the cyberpunk genre. The story of Ghostrunner is set in a skyscraper spire named Dharma Tower, which houses the last of humanity. What caused the cataclysmic event, dubbed the Burst, is unknown. But our story begins with our character experiencing amnesia as he wakes up and then hearing a voice inside of his head.
Can you hear me? They are already looking for you. This is bad. You'll have to fight your way out of here.
Who we find out is the
Pleasure
architect.
to meet you. Face to face, that is.
The architect is responsible for designing and building Dharma Tower, and helps us navigate our way through its many sectors and levels, which I will explain in detail soon. Dharma Tower has a virtual network called the Cyber Void, which has been severely damaged by its current oppressor. It is here where the architect tells us not who we are, but what we are. A Ghostrunner, a biomechanical cyborg built to be the peacekeepers of the tower.
Who are you?
You can call me Architect.
Who am I?
You're a Ghostrunner.
Are you an AI?
You could say that. You could also say Dharma Tower is a skyscraper. Technically correct.
100 were constructed, but after a coup d'etat, all of them went offline, or are unaccounted for, except for
I
you.
was stabbed in the back. We both were, you and I.
Who was she?
As you can probably tell, the game follows a lot of narrative cliches, but don't let that deter you from the game. The gameplay is still really good and has a retro charm to it. Aside from bosses, everything is one-hit kill, including you. So one hit from the enemies will result in your critical failure. However, the game has several checkpoints throughout the levels, and load times are very short. This makes it so that you are right back in the action. The Ghostrunner can wall run, deflect projectiles with a sword, and utilize time dilation with what the game calls a sensory boost. The Architect and the Ghostrunner are both being hunted by the new tyrannical ruler, Mara, who is known by the denizens of the tower as the Keymaster. In game, the tower is said to have 2 districts, but I would argue and say that there are 3. The base of the tower is home to the lower working class who simply go by basers.
Base is Dharma's foundation, in more than one sense. It is the lifeblood of the tower's economy.
Above that is Dharma City, where the privileged live.
Wow.
Deep in Dharma City's heart is the core of the tower, which was composed of laboratories for the last of Earth's brightest minds. Each section of the tower has a distinguishable color palette and design aesthetics appropriate to each respective section. The base of Dharma Tower has several elements of industrial sites like mechanical cranes, assembly lines, and lots of yellow hues and lights to make us think of blue-collar jobs in the real world. It's here that we start our journey to take down the tyrant Mara. Most of the game's levels are set in this section, which makes logical sense being that the base is the biggest part of Dharma Tower. As you climb your way up, you will encounter several platforming sections where most of the dialogue takes place. Combat sections require you to take out several enemies in order to progress. Power-ups and unlockable abilities will become available as the platforming and enemies continue to progressively get harder and harder. Along the way of our crusade, we meet Zoe, a lone survivor of a rebellion, who helps our Ghostrunner discover his more humane side.
This is Zoe Avila of the Climbers Rebellion. If there's anybody alive out there, please respond. Please. Can anybody hear me? Anybody?
This is...
You're awake!
Yes.
And even tells us the Ghostrunner's name, Jack. Between the base district and Dharma City is probably the most chaotic and challenging boss fights I've ever experienced.
That's Tom.
Tom.
Laser Array TO73M is a mouthful.
After you fight with Tom, you make your way to Dharma City, which feels like you're in Blade Runner. In fact, there's a couple cool Easter eggs to be found.
You wanna ride it, Tetsuo?
Alright, let's hit it!
I customized that bike for myself. It's too wild.
The neon-drenched city is surrounded by skyscrapers and illuminated billboards. In Dharma City, you eventually encounter Hell, a Ghostrunner prototype built by Mara.
It's your counterpart.
And anytime a doppelganger is introduced in a video game, you know there's a sweet duel.
Mission to engage.
Granted.
Engaging.
The laboratories at the core of Dharma Tower hide some sinister secrets by Mara, where she conducts her research. The green and pale colors match the sickly state of the tower. But I'm going to wrap it up there because I don't want to spoil this game. Once you're done with the story, the game has lots of replay value with the collectibles hidden across the levels. I'm sure most of you are curious, and yes, Ghostrunner does offer a couple different difficulty modes. At the menu, you'll see that there's a couple different modes where you can fine-tune your abilities. This includes a time trial mode, as well as a mode where you'll fight waves and waves of enemies. With all the first-person shooter games out there that release annually, it's nice to see something with so much creativity and imagination hit the market. And if I haven't convinced you to pick up this title yet, there's even a DLC available now that shows us the story of Hell and acts as a prequel to the game.
Hell unit active.
Hell's gameplay is very similar to Jack's, but does have a few differences. And instead of ascending the tower, you work your way down to root out the rebels. Most of the time I'm skeptical about DLCs, but this time I really have to say it adds so much to the game and the story. The DLC is about a third to half as long as the base game, but still does a magnificent job with its visuals and voice
Position
acting.
to disable restraint module and engage experimental drivers.
He's just a man. I have no use for you if you can't handle him as you are now.
Guard Commander Adrian Bakunin. Lay down your weapons and surrender.
I refuse.
But above all else, the thing that really added to this experience was the music. Daniel Deluxe captured the vibe and the mood of the cyber landscape, and even returned for the DLC. This game is a great example of You don't have to make a crazy, intricate, grandiose game like CD Projekt Red tried to do with Cyberpunk 2077 and not deliver. This game, you can get all of the DLC, all of the expansion packs or whatever, and the base game for $40, when normally a AAA game is $60. You can't go wrong. I mean, this game isn't perfect. I mean, it's buggy in some places, but you really don't notice unless like you're really trying to trail off the path, and maybe you'll find like a place where you get stuck, but you can always restart the level. The developing company, One More Level, is a really small company, and they're going to release a sequel. As long as they put in Daniel Deluxe again, then we're good. Overall, guys, I really love this game. I think I'm going to have to give it an 8.5. It's just for the price and the fact that it's not a AAA title. Yeah, 8.5 easily. The story isn't exactly groundbreaking or revolutionary or anything, but again, it had a simple goal and it committed to it. And if you ask me, it knocked it out of the park. I know it's been a while since I put out a video. I did just get a new computer, so I'm working with a new operating system, so it's taken a little bit to kind of get used to that. However, new videos are going to be coming out, so go ahead and hit that notification button. But until next time, guys, y'all be good. Peace.